Hello, welcome back to episode 5 of Unorthoblocks. In the last episode, we finally got the end open, which is where I got my nice shiny wings. They could be shinier. We're working on that. And now that that's done, and the end's open, and I can actually move out, I have no excuses left to stop procrastinating, figuring out how to actually start things. But this is not my department. That's Spring's department. How do I start this project? I can't put in my industrial district, I can't put in my factory and warehouse district until I have an idea of what size the city blocks need to be, which means I don't have a super smelter. Excuse me, is that a trapdoor in the background that needs to be flipped? Anyway, I can't put in my super smelter until after I've gotten a size of how big the city blocks are going to be and where that's going to be in my city. I can't go through and start setting up storage bases in the end until I know where those are going to be either. But I don't know how big a city block is. I can't figure out how big a city block is until I have a size for how big a house is going to be. And I can't figure out how big a house is going to be until I have a idea of how wide the roads are. And I won't know how wide the roads are supposed to be until I have a size of the pieces in the roads. Hang on, no, that's somewhere I can start. Okay, let's do this. Now, we could go out to the end and build one of these in context, but frankly, I would much rather build my prototype out here where I don't have to worry about falling off the world if I jump off the side of my building to go look at something. Because if that had been the end, that would have been the end of my wings. The floor is not lava. The floor is worse than lava. So, we're going to start with the most basic element of my city to be, and make a prototype boat. Now, the actual boats are going to be very different colors to this, but since I'm building this as a prototype, all I need to do is get the shape right. I can make it out of, I don't know, andesite. I have plenty. Okay, I need 2 visually distinct blocks. Let's use wood as a proxy for the copper-purple elements. We'll use the andesite as a proxy for the normal wood gradient, and we'll figure out what the heck diorite is supposed to be, if and when I find that I need some third element to make everything work. Are there any ender chests around spawn? Yes, there is. And I cleared all of that stuff out of my ender chest, apparently. Yep, I do have... Okay, no, actually, I'm all out of cobblestone. I'm all out of cobblestone. I can't believe I'm all out of cobblestone. Like, I've got 29 mossy cobble, but actual cobblestone? Got cobblestone stairs. Okay, so I'm not making a stone cutter just yet. The diorite can temporarily represent netherrack, aka scaffolding material. Let's start with the one element that I'm pretty sure I know how I want it to be shaped. Do I know what angle I need to have the other blocks adjacent to it, though, to get this to work? There we go. Little decoration element at the front of the boat. Maybe there are ways of making that curve look better, but if there are, I don't know them. On the other hand, this is why we're doing this build practice, so that I can tweak the design of the boat until I have a boat that I'm happy with. Let's work first on designing what the underside of this looks like. And then afterwards we can come back and sort out the upside. How steep? No, I think that works. There's a brown this thing's down this block. And then we'll just and there's a couple on the other side. Does that then end up on a sensible level here? Yeah. I'm still not 100% certain that I have this design element correct, but it's not obviously wrong anymore, so I can work with that. So I return carved andesite in tow, and also one other decoration. A little lantern hanging from the front curve of the boat. Yes, this is a wooden prototype. No, that will not stop me. Also, there's probably parts of it that are wood that could have been andesite. I might not need to have gone as hard as I did with the copper, or wood. Hang on, that should not be diorite. The diorite is for external scaffolding only. We need to have at least a little space in the middle of the boat for people to sit. And from there, we have that trailing out that far. Even if I'm not intending any of the rest of this to go out as far as that trailing tail element did, I should still have it extend a little bit further. And yeah, look at that lovely pile of items on the floor. This is why I'm glad I'm not building this in over the end. And why we're building a prototype out here in the overworld. Because building stuff out in location is not great while I'm doing experimental building. Also, why is my scaffolding over there in andesite? Disc. Can I get my act together? And actually, are these blocks visible from the outside? No. Let's clear these out. They don't need to be wood. They can be andesite. Because only elements that are going to be seen actually need the andesite covering. Only elements that are going to be seen actually need to be copper. Any block where you can't see whether or not it's copper does not need to be. Yeah, and it's just so nice being able to jump down underneath my build to look at it. I'm gonna miss that. Okay, that's actually a weird shape to it. I like it, but that's... oh my god, that's weird. Also, we need more stairs. Now, do I feel like that's settled enough? And actually, I just realized something. I do need a secret third block to represent. I don't know what that's going to be in the final build. But I want some secret third accent color to represent the seats in the boat. We don't exactly need... okay, do we need power steering of some kind? On one hand, I'm sort of riffing off gondolas, which absolutely do not. You just have the pole. But on the other hand, this is sci-fi, and these are spaceships. And on the third hand, I know nothing about gondolas. We're gonna build it, and then we're gonna see if we feel like it needs it. This is eating through a surprising amount of building materials. But it is taking shape, and that shape even looks sufficiently reminiscent of a boat that I'm willing to forgive its existence. And once we have these, I can decide that the width of a road is wide enough to have one of them parked on either side, and two of them going past each other down the middle of the road. for the smaller units of roads. Okay, actually, the smallest units of road, there is no room for parking. But we're not going to inflict that on people. And we're really not going to inflict the one-lane roads as an intentional part of my city design. I acknowledge that they exist. That doesn't mean I need to inflict them on anybody else. Okay, actually, if I put those like that, and I put that there... Yeah, I think that works. We still have a feeling like there was an interior to this boat without taking up too much space. Is it awkwardly wide in places? Yeah. I guess we just have to live with that, though. Nah, I want that at least to be different. Which means I may want to put an outer lip on this after all. Let's check how this looks from below. Okay, I like the shape of my little flying brick. Yes, it looks like a brick. But it looks like a cute brick. Do I leave that weird element like that? I have no idea what it's doing, but... You know what? I do think it's doing it. Yeah, and that helps to tie in the added panels back here. And we have to extend that out and up by a block. There we go. But I think that works for me. We have the little extra detailing up the front of the boat to have an easier time pushing the aether out of the way. And then we just have the trailing end and the low sides to make it easier to get out. And the nice flat side to make it easier to come up beside somewhere. It's possible that this is an adequate prototype. Okay, one issue, it needs more torches. Then, and only then, can it be an adequate prototype. Okay, but if I'm gonna have diegetic lighting on this, I need to understand what I'm doing with it. I definitely don't understand what I'm doing with that. I'm still not sure I understand what I'm doing with that, but you know what? It's weird in a functional way instead of weird in a dysfunctional way. I'll take it. I may think on this further and refine the design, but I feel like this works as a good approximation of how much space is one of my boats going to take up. Now we start pulling out the rulers and doing math. Okay, should a tiny little craft like this be named? No. Am I going to do it anyway? Yes. Hey, okay, no. Aether ship abbreviation doesn't quite feel right. I don't want spaceship. Actually, SS, we have that as sailing ship, we have it as spaceship. SS prototype. So, in terms of how wide are the roads? The ship itself is 5 blocks wide. Is 1 block clearance going to be enough? I think it is for... Give me a hot second to pull up road design guides. So, having checked standard design guides, a typical dual carriageway road, 2 lanes in each direction, would have each lane being about twice as wide as a typical width of a car. Which I can work with this. So that's about 5 blocks, so each lane is about 10. So we're looking at 40 block wide roads. Let's go! I can work with this. And now, that I have that number mentally scribbled on down, I think there's nothing for it but for us to go to the end and begin some of the next stages of construction. Though before I do that, I want to gather up some scaffolding netherrack, because I'm not going to be scaffolding in diorite, and I don't really want to expand my deep slate either. Oh, come off it. Couldn't you fit back into the chest I pulled you out of, blocks? And watch as I die horribly the moment I enter into the nether. Just get obliterated instantly. Do I like this current setup we've got here? No, I don't. Would you boys stop it? Okay, so we're gonna get our gold crown or some other gold equipment out, and hopefully not have to fight to get my stuff back. Let's put on the gold boots. Where did I tuck myself out of the way? Over? Yeah, I see the issue. Once again, my pants. Where did that little baby piglin wander off to with my pants? And my axe, apparently? Yeah, this little brat. This little brat, can we create a pit to stash him in long enough to retrieve my stuff? You just don't want to go in a pit, do you? And the moment I attack him, all of his friends, all of them, are going to come immediately after me. Get back here with my stuff, you little gremlin. Come on. And of course, he's disappeared down into the pit of doom where I will never find him again with my pants. Yeah, he just jumped into the lava, didn't he? Yeah. Piglin. So, on the plus side, I have returned from my mining trip with 2 ancient debris. On the minus side, I have once again lost my diamond pants. Why does this keep happening? Why are my diamond pants cursed? Which one of you cursed my pants? Yeah, which one of you guys cursed my diamond pants? Because I will find you eventually. I could learn from my lesson and stop wearing diamond pants. Or I can just keep throwing diamonds down that well of oblivion. Because it doesn't matter if my pants are cursed. They're still mine. Of course, we still have quite a bit of building supplies to get together for actually building any of my roads in the end. Now, it's a absolute terrible idea for me to be bringing both of my good picks with me to the nether. We frankly got lucky last time. They only lost an axe and a pair of pants out of this. So we're going to leave LaFortune back in my ender chest while I go attempt to retrieve a sample of warped nylium such that I can actually start growing crimson nylium. Crimson nylium, not the warped kind, so I can grow crimson netherwood trees. Oh, it seems like the primary nether roads are up here. Oh, I found the warped trees. Crimson? Crimson, not so much. I don't like that ghast. Do I have any clue where I'm going? No. But I feel like if we follow these tunnels, eventually I will find somewhere I recognize. Or we will find some crimson nylium, and either way, victory. Okay, actually, third possibility, I will get blown up by a ghast and die horribly, which is definitely not victory. But that hasn't happened yet. So we're just going to continue being optimistic about my chances of not getting blown up. Yes, please. That's me, but see me again. Definitely some undetectables. Has gas yet? I think it has. Do I remember? No. Do I think the yes. Do I have on the side? As I go that? Yes. Oh, listen, okay, the basalt delta is not the biome I was hoping to find. Ah, that's another fortress. That's definitely not what we're hoping to find. Now, I know that the stronghold had crimson next to it. Whether or not that will help me find either of the two, very much a different question. At some point, I will hopefully recognize one of these nether paths. In the meantime, we'll just pick a direction of cobblestone and book it. Well, no. Nope, not happening. I might have lived in the nether last season, but that does not make me any more comfortable about netherrack sketchy bridges over wide open exposed lava lakes. Like, I get that this bridge is sketchy and asking to be blown up by ghasts, but at least it's cobblestone. And thus the bridge itself will not get blown up by the ghast. Just the nether portal. Me. Everything else. Why is the nether like this? How did I live here last season? Huh. I actually think I recognize this. We're gonna follow the rail line. Would it have been sensible to use the rail line? Probably. But we can just follow it. The Nether Health and Safety Commission would like to remind people that netherrack is not an acceptable bridging material. Crimson wood in the distance. As long as I can get over this little bridge without any fireballs, maybe we can finally get somewhere. That somewhere appears to be Hoglands, but I also see what is, I think, on down. Come on, Elytra. On down over here, a path towards our stronghold. And stronghold. So we need to memorize exactly where this path comes out, because it is a secret trick that will help us later. We follow this on back to a portal that hopefully I will recognize, and as long as we just keep going through the correct portal every time, we can find our way back to the stronghold. Okay, so that's the horse tunnel to Pears. Tunnel leads us to the stronghold. So in theory, we might actually be able to get our way back there again next time. After sleeping on it for a little bit and sitting here thinking on it for a little bit, I realized that in addition to me not understanding how boats work, I also made a fatal flaw in this particular boat design. Namely, that we need to move, like, all of this down by 1 block. Because if we can't see over the top of the boat, that's a problem. Frankly, this right here is still a problem. Okay, we can fix that fairly easily. We're just going to need to go grab some extra andesite. And/or make some added changes here. Okay, we're actually making a lot more changes than I thought for this relatively simple change. But I want to keep the style of the boat. Let's just ignore the shulker monster that's developing. I want to keep enough of the style, but I do want it to be meaningfully different. And if we can, like, stash a chest in the rearranged design here, all the better. I want to move this entire formation down by a block, which is going to be a pain to put into place. However, it once again reaffirms my decision that it was definitely a correct idea to be building this in the overworld, where I can get underneath my designs to tweak them. I can see that it is getting on towards in-game evening. I refuse to acknowledge this, however, and we're just going to continue finishing building here, and not set time to morning. What do you think I am? A sensible person doing sensible things in this build? No, that doesn't work. That block should be a nice solid block. We're going to have to deal with the underside curvature here, because actually, I was going to say that doesn't look right. But let's get that lantern in place. No, that still looks perfectly fine to me. In fact, I actually think that's an improvement, which is neat. Here I was thinking I was making a minor sacrifice of aesthetic to get stuff to work, but no, I actually think this might be an improvement. Like, I'm still doing this boat thing wrong, because it should be the rear of the boat that is raised, not the front of the boat. But apparently, flattening out the front of the boat here also just makes it look better in general. Yep, so we have the pilot sitting up at the front, sort of. With a storage locker here. Yeah, we could put a storage locker there. And then we have the normal seating and... No, that doesn't quite work. We need to have whatever eldritch mechanism it is that's steering the boat still be steering the boat from up front here. Okay, that doesn't look right. I'm just going to leave this ambiguous as to what's going on in the front of the boat here. But if you're standing here, you can see over the top. And if you're standing up here, you can definitely see over the top. But you can't... Actually, you can sort of see what's going on here if you're standing over the chair. I'm not certain I fixed the problem, but it is at least less obviously wrong, and I can work with that. And I was thinking I was going to include an extra chair, but nah. That said, we can put a storage... We cannot fit a storage locker anywhere in this boat design. Never mind. No storage lockers. Or maybe we can. We put the trunk behind the... Yep. And yeah, we have people sitting down here and then standing up the top to actually deal with the boat. We're just not going to ever explain what the eldritch steering mechanism is that my aether ships use to steer, because that would involve me having a clue what the eldritch steering mechanism is, and frankly, I don't. And we're just not going to build any portion of the steering mechanism that ever actually explains how this works. Because I would assume that I understand how this works, and frankly, given that we just had to fix my boat design for other reasons, I do not understand how this works. We simply live with it. But we can still take our small alterations to the design of our SS prototype here, and use that to build our working roads out in the end. Which is, I think, going to be next episode's problem. So I will see you next episode. Well, we actually have to put my designs into practice on location, and that seems like a terrible plan, actually. Is it too late to not base in the end? Yes. We're going to base in the end. My competence, not the issue here. So I'll see you all in the next episode, where I finally have to stop procrastinating and start building. Or find a new and improved way to procrastinate that still probably involves more building. See you then.